Hi guys. So with this week's video, I am talking about coloring. So we are still on this project. I know a lot of you did not stop before coloring last week. So if you are one of those people, just make sure that you watch this video. Hopefully it won't be that long. And make sure that you do use some of the techniques, some of the ways that I am coloring in your art, and then post it again in Schoology. So if you already did make sure you were mixing, then you have a very easy assignment this week. But see if there's anything else you can add, because you can always spend more time on your art. So I pretty much had finished this one, and I wanted to have a chance to show you a little bit of a different way to do some of the coloring for a corgi and with the fur, so any animal that has fur. So hopefully we'll be able to do that, because I did draw another little corgi. So I'll show you some ways to do fur as well. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go ahead and get started on this easier one. Now this assignment was about International Dot Day, based off of that book that we watched last week. So that is actually today. So Tuesday, September 15th is International Dot Day, and today is the day I am recording it, and it is the International Dot Day. So that was pretty cool how that ended up. So with our flower that I had shown you last week that I'd drawn, when I am coloring, I like to keep my lines, here, let me move this out from underneath. I like to keep my lines close together, and definitely make sure that you are holding your paper down, just to make sure that it's not gonna wobble all over the place. Now with this flower, I am going up and down. It's usually a good idea to kind of go in the direction that that object, that fur or that plant or whatever it is that you're coloring is going to go. So I've seen a lot of people that they'll color hair on a person's head, but they'll go left to right, and your hair doesn't quite grow that way. So it does make it look a little weird. So I have my yellow that I went ahead and filled it in with first, and I'm not gonna stop there. I'm gonna mix some of my own colors. So I'm gonna go in with some orange now, and very lightly, I'm just blending in right over the top. I want to have this color fade from yellow to orange to a red orange. So you can call that a fade, or you can call it a gradient. It's just or you can call it a transition, where it's switching from one color to the next. So now I'm gonna go in with red down at the bottom, and just darken it up a little bit more in that area. And that is honestly all I really do here. I kind of want to try one more color. I would say at least be mixing 2 colors. If you want to try for 3, awesome. If you want to go real in depth, you could try a little purple, but it's not a very, this purple isn't very vibrant, so it's not really giving me the kind of color I want, but it will give you a little bit of a shade, a little bit of a shadow, so it'll still work. But I would go just real light with this. And you could put some over here so you don't have just one flower petal that's like that. So again, just keeping my lines close together. And now I'm gonna keep going on with the next flower petal. Now, as we go around the center of this flower, our petals do start going different directions. So I probably would not want to keep going just up and down. Now, if you are how do I explain this? Sometimes it's easier to just go up and down because your hand has this motion that it is going in, and that's an easy motion for your hand to do. But when you start like doing it like this, then it starts getting real difficult. So remember, you can always turn your paper. I see a lot of people that they're struggling while they're coloring, and it's like, well, miss, I can't get my arm to bend that way. And it's like, well, you don't have to. Just turn your paper. Get a little bit of orange in, a little bit of red. I really like how it looks with the red. And as I'm going around this, I am liking that purple we added. Maybe that was a good idea after all. That's one of the things about coloring, about art in general. Like, you have to kind of try new things, and sometimes it doesn't look so great, and sometimes you have a, what is it Bob Ross says, a happy little accident. So I did move again my paper over so I can keep going in that up and down motion. Let's see if I can kind of quickly finish the flower. Another way that you could do this to speed this along and not be switching in between each pencil every flower petal is go ahead and start with one color. So I'm going to go around the whole thing with my yellow. I'm going to turn this flower upside down. Now remember, Miss Mobley has been coloring for a long time, so while I am coloring fast, that is because I don't want this video to be too long. If you aren't a great colorer, then you might need to take a little bit longer. So make sure you're not rushing this. I've seen a lot of art submissions at this point that are clearly rushed. Please remember that the quality of art that we would do in the room together, you still need to be doing that kind of quality. So if you are rushing just to get it done, you need to slow down. I'm kind of sad about some of the pictures that I've been getting from some of my students. And if you're one of those students and you know that you are one of those students, then you need to spend more time on your assignments in art from here out. Because you can't make beautiful art if you're rushing. Alright, so we're just about done with the yellow. Now we can go around with our orange. So again, I'm trying to make sure I am going that same direction as the flower petal. So the flower petal is going out this direction and it's coming down this way. And it'll have like a really beautiful effect. Oops. And just 3 more. So I really had a fun time making this assignment, especially since I got to color a corgi and draw a corgi, so I was really happy. Corgis are my favorite animal because they're super cute with their little legs and their teeny tiny little tail. Alright, let's get some red in here. And then I might switch to that corgi after we get a little purple in. Because again, like I said, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this video because what I'm showing you here is how you're going to color the whole thing. So you're using this technique, not these colors per se, but you are using this blending technique. Remember, when you're using colored pencils to press lightly, if you are pressing super hard, your blending is not going to look nice because you can't really blend because you've just pressed too hard. And almost there. And if you're watching this video and you're going, wow, this is going to take forever, well, it's going to take a little while, but it should be fun because you got to pick whatever you wanted to do your dot on. And if you didn't want to do a flower, I hope you didn't draw a flower. So just make sure you're taking your time to make it beautiful. And this flower is the biggest part of this picture. We have some stuff in the background and everything, but since we have this flower right smack dab in the middle of our paper, it's kind of obviously the focus. Like, it's what this whole picture is basically about. So whatever is biggest and up front in your picture, especially if it's in the middle like ours, you should probably be spending the most amount and adding the most details to that, because that should be what everybody basically focuses on when they look at your art. All of this other stuff off to the side in the background, not nearly as important. Still important, but not as important. I think I'm going to go ahead and make the eyes kind of purple. Now, one of the things you will need to pay attention to here is, again, I used that yellow piece of paper, and that yellow paper is going to mix basically with the color you use. So we're gonna end up with more of a brown color than a purple color, and it's not because Miss Mobley's using a brown colored pencil, it's because the purple and yellow are mixing. So keep that in mind when you are coloring any areas inside your circle or your dot if you used a colored piece of paper. Maybe we can do just a little bit more. I want this face to at least pop out a little more. So pay attention to how I put my finger down here. That's going to help you color a little bit faster too, because you're basically blocking this, and then you only really have to worry about staying inside the lines up at the top. Also a nice trick to use. How that's looking. Using colored pencils is one of my absolutely favorite things. Well, watercolor and colored pencils. So that's going to give you that fading effect. Hopefully you think that's beautiful. I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to our corgi real quick so I can tell you a little bit about fur. So again, you are going to go in with the yellow. Color in carefully. Hopefully you can tell that I did outline this with black. So if that is a look that you like, you have the option to do that with you could do it with a black colored pencil. You could do it with a crayon as well, but it won't be quite as nice. But I used a marker here. So if you have markers, you can outline it to really make it pop a little bit more. So when I am coloring his hair, I might not do his whole, well, I'll go ahead and do his whole hair real quick. I'm trying to hurry because again, I don't want this video to be too long for you guys, because it's all basically the same thing. You just coloring. I know you probably started this video and you're like, Miss Mobley, why are you teaching us how to color? I've been coloring since I was a little kid. But there are new things you can do. I know a lot of you haven't been coloring like that flower I just showed you, so it's a new way to do it. So now that I have the yellow in here, now my puppy isn't going to be yellow. I want him to be kind of brownish orange. So I'm going to go in with the orange, and I'm going to try and go in the direction that his hair would be growing. So it would be kind of growing downwards, but it might move around a little. So I'm going to go, it's going to be a little bit of a messiness, but a controlled messiness. So just really lightly adding a little bit of orange, kind of in this sort of like a zigzaggy sort of direction. But always kind of up and down. Maybe over here in the ears, since the hair does kind of like come upwards, you could kind of like go at an angle or a diagonal. But if you have a puppy, look at your puppy. Look at the direction their hair's going. I mean, that's kind of what you want to be doing. If you're going left to right on this dog, straight left to right, it's gonna look weird. It doesn't mean it'll ruin your art, but it's just another thing to keep in mind when you're coloring, just to keep your stuff looking even better. Because if you work this hard on something, you don't want to ruin it when you color it. Now I'm going to go in with some brown. The brown for this set of colored pencils is a bit weird. I'm not sure if I like it. It's okay. And again, just some more kind of zigzaggy motions. So that is basically it, guys. Just make sure that you are mixing colors. If you didn't mix colors last week, that is what you are doing this week. So if you didn't color, you stopped before you colored, great, good job. If you did color, then you are just gonna go in and make sure that you added like 2 or 3 colors in. So you mixed a few different colors. I have to think if there's any other colors I want to add. I mean, this is a great opportunity to kind of experiment too. So we can see, no, blue is gonna make him look kind of green. So let's not do blue. I forgot about that yellow back there. So when you mix yellow and blue, you get green. Get some, I wanted to get a darker brown. I might see if, whoa, I'm just throwing things. I don't really like that either. I might have to find another brown from a different type of colored pencil. But that's pretty much what you're doing for this week. You're finishing this assignment. You're not doing this. This is just an extra drawing I had. And I figured I would use this coloring approach since we had already finished, or I had already finished this one last week. So make sure that you are taking your time. You're coloring nicely. You are mixing 2 or 3 colors in with your first color, and you're making your art look beautiful and fantastic and amazing. So make sure, once again, rushed art isn't good art, so take your time. I want it to be beautiful. I want you to be proud of it, and I want you to show it off to me. So when I look at your art, it'll make me go, wow, that's amazing. All right, guys. Well, take your time, do your best, and we'll have a new video next week. Bye, guys.